there guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for watching today. Today we are back and we're going to be talking about some Funko Pops and possibly some predictions of what Pops you could potentially see rise due to the release of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is hitting theaters this weekend. I am so pumped. Got my tickets for Thursday night. I cannot wait to see this movie. So much hype around this movie. I mean, we've been waiting like 3 years since it was officially announced when we found the title, I think back in 2019. So it's been very long time waiting for us to see this movie, and the hype has been building up even more with the different thoughts of who could pop up. So I am so excited. But for us here in the Funko Pop community, we also like to think about how does this affect the hype around the Funko Pops as well, because we have seen a lot recently, especially when it comes to Marvel movies, that once a movie comes out, a character that maybe doesn't have a lot of pops, or maybe older figures that are vaulted, start to skyrocket a lot. And we've actually already seen this with the build up to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness over the last 6 to 8 months. Certain pops have started to rise in value, and I actually have one of them as an example that I have in my collection. It is actually the San Diego Comic-Con Summer Convention exclusive Doctor Strange with the rune in his hand where he's actually casting a spell. And this one came out back in 2016. It is a really great looking pop, of course. He has kind of that projection there where he's doing the spell. The costume is great. It's based off the 2016 movie, which was fantastic. But with Doctor Strange here, this one jumped up a lot. And we got really lucky because we picked this up last year over at one of our favorite spots, Nerd Culture. And you can actually see on the bottom here that I'm not sure if you can see it there, but we paid only $30 for this thing. And now this pop is worth well over $100 just because of the hype. So you can definitely see how pops skyrocket a ton just in a short amount of time. So if you are a pop collector and you like to try to find some of these figures before they skyrocket, look for some movies that are going to be coming up. So of course we have Doctor Strange right now. We have Thor Love and Thunder. Maybe look at some Thor pops that might be a little bit cheaper. I recently picked up a Valkyrie pop for just 20 bucks that I thought was a pretty good value. I think that one's going to rise. We have Ms. Marvel coming, She-Hulk coming, so definitely go ahead and scoop up those pops now. So if you want to avoid having to pay up because of the hype, definitely look ahead, pick up pops. Definitely have a lot of pops. Some that I picked up recently, some that I've had in the collection for quite a long time. They wanted to show off to you and kind of speculate a little bit about what these pops could possibly do, because I think all of these pops have a big possibility of going up, whether just a little bit or maybe skyrocketing into a grail. Before we jump into it, I do want to just leave you guys a reminder. Make sure you go down below and hit that subscribe button. Helps out a lot. Also leave a like on the video, and of course you can comment down below. Start off by letting me know if you're hyped for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and also let me know if any of the pops that we show off today, if you already have them in your collection, or if you were going to try to grab them before the movie comes out. So we'll go ahead and start by taking a look at some pops of some of the characters that we know are going to be in the movie. And we'll start with some of the main characters. I also have the other common Doctor Strange from the 2016 movie, and so it is Doctor Strange here. And this one is a common, like I said, so I picked it up a little bit ago, and I think right now this is still only around like $12, $15 value, something like that. And although it might not jump up a ton, it might jump up a little bit. Back when we had Spider-Man No Way Home come out, we've had some of these Spider-Man commons from previous movies that were sitting around $15 to $20. They jumped up to $30, $35 value, even though they were still not too hard to get. So go ahead and maybe possibly grab this Doctor Strange one, not only because it's a cool pop, but also because you could see that rise a little bit after this movie comes out. And the other main character in this movie that looks like it's going to be focusing on a lot is going to be Wanda Maximoff. And I do have a few Scarlet Witch Funko Pops that I think could rise. And we did see a lot of pops rise already, at least the vaulted ones, because of WandaVision. And now we might see another cycle with them rising again because of the Multiverse of Madness. And one of the pops is a WandaVision pop here that was going to be for Scarlet Witch reading the Darkhold. And I think the Darkhold is really going to be an important piece here in Multiverse of Madness. I think we saw her in the trailer where she's actually floating like this, so I think they're going to have something very similar, just her with a little bit of an updated outfit. It's going to be a really cool pop to want that you're going to want to get. I don't think this is super hard right now to get. I think it's still available in some stores, so if you don't already have this pop, definitely go ahead and pick it up. But this one was absolutely one of my favorites from the WandaVision line, but I think it has a really good chance of jumping up a little bit more. And then we also had a Scarlet Witch WandaVision pop that came out as an exclusive over to Hot Topic. And so we have the levitating Scarlet Witch, and this one is absolutely a beautiful piece there with the costume and how she's floating up in the air. It does look great. I did see they recently restocked this on Hot Topic's website, so if you were able to get that, kudos to you. If you were not able to get it and you still look for the pop, now might be a good time to grab it, because I think after the movie comes out, this one is going to raise a little bit more. And then I have one more Wanda Maximoff / Scarlet Witch pop, and it's actually the Avengers Endgame pop and box exclusive glow in the dark version. Now this is one that I recently picked up from a mystery box, so it does not have the pop in the box exclusive sticker, but it is the glow in the dark sticker on there. And this was a very, very popular pop. Now Pop and Box actually just announced they were restocking this one as well, so I'm not sure if that's going to be restocked immediately or if it's a pre-order. So this one could rise slightly due to the movie. I think this has the least likelihood of any of these Scarlet Witch pops to rise just because of that restock, but I think it might still be a good one to at least mention. A couple shots in the trailers, we actually got to see some of the characters actually kind of a little bit zombified, and we even saw in the Marvel What If show there was an entire episode based around the Marvel zombies, and actually I think they showed up in the final battle too, which is cool. But they actually did put out Marvel zombie Funko Pops for What If, and I think some of these might actually carry over to the Doctor Strange movie. And one of them is going to be the Zombie Strange that you can pick up from Target. Now this one has been sold out for a little bit. I picked this one up quite a while ago for my own collection, but it's definitely a cool pop that you're going to want to try to grab, because he is zombified in the last trailer they showed. I don't know if that's actually Zombie Strange or if that's just him getting like his magic sucked out of him or whatever, but he's definitely going to be very reminiscent of Zombie Strange. So this one was definitely the one that I thought I wanted to mention. And then we also did have a shot of Wanda looking a little bit more zombified as well. And so we also have the zombie Scarlet Witch. Now this was a common figure, so it might not jump up that much. I'm not sure how widely available this one is. This pop, especially if it is a zombie Scarlet Witch variant, this one could definitely become a hot commodity. And speaking of What If, there are definitely some other characters from What If that I could see come over, because, I mean, they are a part of the MCU. They are just different universal versions of them, and so one of them is actually a Doctor Strange variant, which was the Doctor Strange Supreme, and this is the Amazon exclusive glow in the dark version. And I think this one has been selling out whenever it's restocked. I've seen it sell out, but this is a great looking pop, especially if the Doctor Strange Supreme is a variant in the movie. We could see this one rise as well. And of course, in that Doctor Strange Supreme episode that we saw more towards the end, we actually saw Doctor Strange turn into another monster, and so we had Doctor Strange Supreme Unleashed. And this was a near Comic-Con / Emerald City Comic-Con Festival of Fun exclusive. I was able to pick this one up from GameStop. It actually took me a little bit to get it, and I don't think I've ever showed it off. Lots of detail on it, and I think it has been sold out since. So this one could definitely be a candidate to have a little bit of a rise to it, because I think it's currently like the $30-$40 range, but this one could definitely jump up over $50 after the movie, especially if he has something to do with it. And then one of the characters from What If that we do know is gonna be in this movie because of a most recent clip that was released, giving us a quick look at the character for just a second. It was actually Captain Carter, and so I have a couple What If pops of Captain Carter here. I have the first wave, the GameStop exclusive Captain Carter, and then I also have the most recent stealth suit Captain Carter. And I'm so excited that we're actually going to be able to get Peggy Carter as Captain Carter in this movie. I just really hope they use Haley Atwell, because she's actually one of my favorite actresses. Having her show up in Multiverse of Madness is going to be really exciting for me, which is actually one of the reasons why I got the t-shirt here, because we have the Blacklight Peggy Carter right there as well. These two pops could definitely jump a little bit when she is in the movie. I think people are kind of sleeping on her being in the movie a little bit, or at least they're just thinking, oh cool, it's an Easter egg that she's there. But I think she's going to have a pretty decent sized role. I think she's going to be in a few scenes, which is going to make people fall in love with her a little bit more, and I think she's going to be badass. And there's also the common Captain Carter of her standing on top of the stone. Those could definitely be ones that could rise in value. And I also want to throw in another Peggy Carter pop, because some of the older ones that are vaulted could definitely have some value too. This is the Agent Carter from the Agent Carter TV show, and this is a great pop. I really do love this one, and maybe this one might rise in value after the movie comes out. I can only hope. Now, the final character that we know that is definitely going to be showing up in this movie is going to be Professor X, and I have the Professor X original X-Men Funko Pop, which is super awesome. I actually got this a very long time ago, I think sometime last summer actually, in a mystery box, and at the time it was only worth about 30 bucks. Since it's skyrocketed past like $70, $75, at one point it was over 100. So this is amazing, and what's even better is we got a recent look that Professor X is actually going to be in his yellow chair, just like the 90s animated show, and just like this here. So I think this pop could definitely rise a whole lot more. So if you guys see it at around $50, $60, $70, I might say if you really want it, scoop it up now, because after the movie comes out, this will definitely be over 100. So I went ahead and clear off table because we talked about all of the characters that are going to be in the movie, or at least kind of different variants of those characters that could be in the movie. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about some characters that we are been speculating that could show up in this movie. I don't have any actual information, haven't seen any leaks or anything, so these are all guesses, but these are all characters I think have a really good chance of showing up in the movie, and if they do, all of these pops will definitely rise a lot, because there's some not so easy to find pops, and a lot of these are vaulted. And since we were just talking about What If, the one pop I guess I'll start with is going to be the Watcher from What If. This is the Funko Shop exclusive Watcher. Now, this one has not been super popular. I think it was available in the Funko Shop for a very long time. I don't know if it's still there, but with Marvel going so crazy with, you know, the Eternals movie and how they talked about Celestials, and then we got a shot of the Living Tribunal in one of the trailers as well for Multiverse of Maddness, I do not doubt that they could go as far as having the Watcher show up in this movie as well, at least have a cameo popping up. Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher would be amazing. If they do, this pop will definitely rise a little bit as well. I thought I would throw it out there. I think it's probably the least likely of any of the characters I'm going to be talking about here to show up, but I think there's definitely a chance, at least a chance, that he can show up. Now, the second character will show, which I definitely think has a chance, but I don't think is likely, is going to be Sylvie from Loki. And last we saw Sylvie, she betrayed Loki, she killed Kang, and she went off on her own there. So who knows, she now could be somewhere in the multiverse on some sort of timeline, and now she gets captured somewhere and she gets brought in and we see her. Maybe she could be a part of the adventure at some point, who knows. But Sylvie here, this is the Walmart exclusive glow-in-the-dark version. Definitely one that I wanted to get so bad when it came out, and one that I'm glad I have now because it might rise in value if she ends up showing up. But eventually it's going to rise because Loki Season 2 is coming at some point next year probably. Now let's go ahead and wrap this up with a couple different characters that I think could show up, at least as part of my dream team to show up in this movie as far as a cameo, and we could even see them as a part of the Illuminati, which they actually have referenced in the trailers for the movie. And yeah, I think these ones could definitely have a good chance, and they're all super cheap pops, but they will skyrocket if they actually end up showing up in this movie. And the first character we'll take a look at is actually going to be Black Bolt from the Inhumans, and so I don't only have one of them, I have both different versions of Black Bolt here that I was able to actually pick up recently, and they weren't too bad. I think it's only valued at like $15 or something like that. But we have two different versions. We have Black Bolt with the silver going down, and then we have him with the blue as well. So pretty cool figures in my opinion. I do really like those, but I think there's a really good chance that Black Bolt could be on the Illuminati because it looks like they are really borrowing heavy from the comics, and Black Bolt is a part of the Illuminati in the comics. So that could be just perfect marriage, bring the Inhumans over into the MCU as Kevin Feige wanted to do initially. Maybe Kevin Feige is going to finally get a switch, being able to bring in the Inhumans through the multiverse, and I think Black Bolt could definitely be a character that will show up, and both of these pops will absolutely rise if he does show up in the movie. And another fan favorite character that I know a lot of people are going to want to see show up in this movie, and people have been begging to show up in the MCU for a while, is Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four. And so this Fantastic Four line has not been very well received, has not been very popular. They were still pretty widely available. I don't know if they're printing any more of them, but I definitely know there are a lot of places that you can get this pop, but they might be scooped up very, very fast. So if you can get it for like $8, $10, something like that, definitely go ahead and grab this one. There's also the Marvel Collector Core box exclusive that might be a good one to grab as well of Mr. Fantastic, because if we get Reed Richards, hopefully Miss John Krasinski as Reed Richards in this movie, these Fantastic Four pops, and more specifically Mr. Fantastic, is going to jump up for sure. Finally, this character, I've talked about him before actually when I picked him up initially, and I definitely think it's one I want to mention in this video as well. It's going to be Namor the Submariner. This is the only Namor pop that they have ever made for Funko. And so if he actually shows up in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which I think there is a good chance because he is supposed to be the villain of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, he's going to show up in that movie. Marvel likes to introduce the characters in a different way in another movie, so they might introduce him in Multiverse of Madness, and then he comes up later in Wakanda Forever. And in the comics, Namor is on the Illuminati, so very good chance we could also see him on the Illuminati in just a small cameo. So if he does show up and people love him, this pop will absolutely skyrocket. And this one is probably not going to be too difficult to get right now. I think I've seen it on Amazon or different websites that sell pops, those third-party retailers, so you might want to grab one. I grabbed this at my local comic book shop as I thought that this one definitely might skyrocket later this year. So go ahead and pick up Namor if you want to try to grab a cheap pop that could have some value to it down the road. So there we have it. There's our speculation of what potential Funko Pops could rise with the release of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I'm sure I'm leaving a lot of stuff out. No, I definitely left out like Mordo from the first Doctor Strange movie, because of course he's returning in this one. I didn't include him because he has a new pop of himself coming out for this movie. Maybe some Wong figures. The San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Wong is definitely one that's going to rise a whole lot more because of this movie. And one that I didn't mention at all, I almost forgot about, was Wanda's twins, Billy and Tommy from WandaVision, with them going to be showing up in this movie because we saw them in a trailer as well. Those could also skyrocket too. So lots of pops that could rise in this. And when I say skyrocket, it could be just like $5 or $10, or it could be up, $50, $100. Who knows? These Funko Pops are really volatile as far as the values. You never know what's going to jump up. I think the day that we got the trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where they actually showed Professor X talking to Doctor Strange, that pop overnight jumped like $50, $60, or even more than that. So you never know with these things. They could skyrocket out of nowhere, but it's better to be early on it and try to pick up the pops before they skyrocket. But that's my thoughts. I do want to hear from you guys. Do you agree with me about any of these pops? Do you think that these could skyrocket? Have you picked up any of these pops recently in anticipation for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? And are there any that I had left out on my list? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. And of course, if you guys can, make sure you hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe button and hit that bell to be notified whenever we have new videos. And thank you guys so much for watching today. And as always, we'll see you again real soon.